Here we go. Happy new day, new afternoon, new evening, and new night, queens and kings and queens and kings. No, queens and kings and kings and queens. There we go. Welcome to a Universal Living PAC Up Sessions. Tonight, Friday, June 26, 2020, on Facebook Live, my page. Woohoo! I am the connecting angel, and it is my purpose to help you remember your connection to the universal power that created everyone and everything, past, present, and future, which means you are connected to everyone and everything, past, present, and future, and that will help you to walk in your soul's purpose, to fulfill and complete your life's missions with the gifts, the talents, and the powers that you were born with. Yes. And I do that through the life of Angelica Stevenson. That's this flesh right here that I was born to on this earth. And I do that with her or our four expressions, which are the poet AQ, writer, the healed mother expression, and the personalized analytical connector expression. And that is the expression you're getting tonight with tonight's PAC Up Sessions, and the topic is called Deciphering the Doctrine of Race-ism. Race-ism. So yeah, I hope y'all ready to get packed up. Get ready to get packed up in you. Get ready to get packed up to you. Get ready to get packed up for you so that you can walk in your soul's purpose to fulfill and complete your life's missions with the gifts, the talents, and the powers that you were born with. Yes! All right, so I'm going to be using two sources, and I hope you guys brought pen and paper so you can go back to listen and take notes. The first source is the online etymology dictionary, and I use that to decipher words, to share with you the origins and the meanings of words, because if you didn't know, the English language is a bastard language, which means it was created from other languages like Latin, Greek, French. So there are other meanings to these words that we say. So we need to know that and understand that so we can properly speak the life and speak the words that we want to say over ourselves and even our children to get the manifestations that we desire and that we want for ourselves. And the second one is I'm gonna have some scriptures in here. So I went to the Strong's Concordance for some of these things too. So yeah, here we go. Deciphering the Doctrine of Race-ism. As you think about this, the questions I want you to ask yourself, and I'm going to have you connect to your bases, which is your soul base, your first base, your second base is your brain, the third base is your heart, and the fourth base is your body. What is racism? Where did it come from? How did it start? And did you research it yourself? Or is it something that was told or passed on down to you about what racism is and what it looks like? All right, so we're going to do the word decipher. Decipher is a verb which means action, and it's from the 1520s. Find out about, discover. A sense now obsolete. From 1540s, it means internet, a coded writing by the use of a key. From D plus cipher. So to find out, discover. So we're going to discover the doctrine and the origins of race-ism. And DE dash is an active word forming element in England and in many verbs inherited from French and Latin. From Latin, it means day, DE, which means down from off. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, to the root of the word race-ism, and not just what society knows racism as it is and understands it and what it appears to be today. And then down from, off, concerning, also used as a prefix in Latin, usually meaning down, off, away. Down, so day, Latin, same thing, and space meaning down from, off, away from. So I want you guys to know that I'm going to go to the bottom, which is like a root. Like if you have a weed in your garden, in order to have a healthy garden, or let's say if you need some healing to be done in your life, you need to get at the root of the situation or the work or the progress of the problem. So I'm going to the root of it. I'm going to the root of the doctrine of racism. Now, what is a doctrine? I know I'm used to hearing that word like in regards to in regards to churches and different religions. People say that's the doctrine or different doctrines. You're speaking a different doctrine and da 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 da. That's where I'm used to hearing that word doctrine. How about you? The origins of the word doctrine is a noun, to person, place, or thing. Comes from late 14th century, the body of principles, dogmas, etc. in a religion or field of knowledge. So it's the body. So a doctrine is the body of principles, dogmas, etc., either in a religion or field of knowledge. From Old French doctrine, 12th century, meaning teaching, doctrine, and directly from Latin, a doctrina, which means a teaching body of teachings. So the doctrine of racism is a teaching that was put into this society and that is still being passed on now. And there are so many ways that it's being passed on and being perpetrated by all humans, no matter the various colors of their skin. And we're going to go to the etymology of the word principles, if you know what that means. So, nope, not my bad. Nope. So, continuing with the deciphering the meaning of the word doctrine, which means learning from doctor, teacher. See doctor plus ina. So we go to a doctor. The etymology of the word doctor is from 1300th century, doc-to-our, which means church father, from Old French docteur, and directly from medieval Latin, doctor. Religious, teacher, advisor, advises, a scholar. In classical Latin, it means teacher. We are all teachers. Everybody is a teacher, whether you want to be or not. You are a teacher. Somebody is watching you. Somebody is learning from you. Somebody is going to choose to copy you or not to copy you. You are a teacher. Also, it's an agent noun from docre, which means to show, teach, cause to know. Originally, make to appear right. Originally, make to appear right. If something appears to be right, that doesn't mean that it is. Originally, make sure I got that. Causes of decree, be seeming, fitting. Okay, so a doctrine is basically a teaching, a body of teachings. And when you teach something, there are side effects and there are consequences of what's being taught. Some of the things that were taught that's still being passed down and people are still doing that I don't understand why. One of them is melanin skinned people of various shades are calling other melanin skinned people of various shades coons. If they don't think or believe or feel or say a different way than they think that they should be due as a melanin person with various skin shade. Black. For this course, I'll say black. So black people are calling other black people coons when they think they're basically not being a good enough black person that they think they are and should be, or to the cause or to the movement. And originally the word coon only referred to a group up until 1837, and now it is an insulting word used in the United States. Coon, the word coon, and calling a black person a coon was from the slave masters to black people when they were slaves. However, now it's not just slave masters that are calling other black people coon. It's also other black people calling black people coons. So what are you really teaching and passing down, black person? What are you showing? You are basically regurgitating and keeping the doctrine and the teaching of slave masters by continuously to call other black people coons. You are still doing the work for the slave master. You have a mindset of the slave master. And your actions are showing the mindset of the slave master. And when I was writing these notes, the scripture that came to me was that you are the children of your father, the devil, because you do the works of your father, the devil. And that was from John, the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. And today I was talking to my husband, Alan. I was like, weren't white people used to be called the devil? So I'm like, wow, that is another connection. So, and with other black people, calling other black people coons, you are acting and continuing on the actions and the teachings of your father, the devil, the slave master, while at the same time trying to uplift black people. But how can you uplift black people? How can you root for black people? How can you say that you love your black brothers and sisters and say that you support your black brothers and sisters if you are continuing the same action and mindset that the slave master that you come to hate and have all these feelings for have done to the ancestors of other people that look like us? How can you be this and say this, but yet you're continuing on the same way that they are? How can you say that you love and you want change? How are you going to have any change if you're still perpetrating and thinking and speaking, which is manifesting and acting with your choices of your body, the same thing that they did, like by calling other black people coons? Something to think about. Okay, so continuing on, doctrine is the body of principles. Body of principles, because we got doctrines also from doctor, a religious teacher, advisor. So a doctor supposedly, what we think now, a doctor is somebody that's supposed to help heal. However, sometimes a doctor can also bring death, just like a doctrine, a teaching can bring either healing, life, or it can bring death. So what doctrine, or whose doctrine, I should say, will you be continuing on in your life today and every day that you are able to wake up to see, to live, do, and breathe? All right, principles is a noun. It's from late 14th century. It means origin, source, beginning, rule of conduct. So people talk about teaching their own, teaching truth, what they don't want to teach, and that what they, as in white people or the government, what they teach can't be true, and it's not trusted, that they're speaking lies. However, black people are still spreading the same lies that the white people or the government is spreading about black people. And they're still spreading the lies that they created. So that is crazy, because crazy means it's from 1570s, meaning diseased, sickly, a sense now obsolete. So the origin, source, beginning, rule of conduct. as Black people, how can you talk about teaching your own, but yet you're continuing to teach and pass on the doctrine, the teachings of so-called slave masters and the government that you claim to hate and that you don't want nothing to do with, or that they're not treating you right by our people, by Black people? So what is the origin and source and the beginning and the rule of conduct that you are really sharing and spreading? Is it really yours? Or is it what you were told and what you taught, and what you were told and what you were taught that was yours? Like the meaning of race-ism. Are you just going by what you were told and what you were taught racism was? Or have you connected with your own four bases, your soul, your brain, your heart, and your body, your four bases, and done your own study? You're done your own research. You've done your own inner work and connecting with the universal power. Are you doing your own research on yourself and your life and your family, your ancestry, your personal bloodline, where you came from? Or are you continuing their doctrine? So that's something else to think about. Dogma, noun, a settled opinion, agreement that you have to, a principle held as being firmly established. So continuing on with the teachings of the United States or white people, you have firmly established that within yourself, their dogma. And you are holding on to racism and their definition and their meaning and what they have groomed this society to believe, to know, and to accept what racism is. And in doing so, it's keeping you from the truth. That with the word race-ism, there's no such thing as race-ism. That word in itself, that I will go into, is a made-up word. And it has power, and it is power that they have over you and that you keep giving them over yourself by not knowing, by not researching, by not connecting for yourself. And when you hold on to something, when you continue to visualize it, when you continue to think about it, feel it, that gets passed down, that gets passed on, and soon it becomes part of your know. I abbreviate know for your natural observer's eyes and ears. So if you really want racism to stop, which is if you really want what we see every day happening to Black people to stop, if you really want change, real change, it has to begin with you personally making the decision to stop carrying on their teachings and their principles of what racism is. It has to deal with you walking in your power of self-control, self-accountability, and self-leadership and self-power, like all the powers that you were born with, to have control over your life, over your own thoughts, and to be accountable for yourself. And ways to do that is by going deep into what somebody is telling you that this is true and asking them, why is that true? To start asking questions. instead of going along with it just because somebody else is going along with it, or just because it's trendy, or just because it must be coming from a higher authority. So that means it must be right. It must be true. How many higher authorities have lied to their people that have been underneath them? Think about it. Freedom is you taking self-accountability and self-control over your life, over your thoughts, over your words, over your actions. Freedom is being accountable. You want change? It starts with you and taking hold firmly of your power, the power of yourself. And uprooting it at its core, and the core is you. You're the core. Like copy similar to universal law. Yeah. Okay, so continuing on. Hey Steve, thanks for watching. And so where did the word racism come from? I did my own research as well when I was doing this, looking for the origins of the word racism as we know it now. It was interesting. I'm gonna leave that assignment for y'all to do, to look up the origins of the word racism, where it originally came from, how old the word is, what it appears to be, the purpose of it. Because the word racism, RACISM, is just another tool of division to be used by the authority that is above you in this system, the government, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. It is a tool of division. And it's been passed on so much that the people now are dividing themselves naturally now. It's like instinct. They put in places and actions from long ago to breed in division, so that now it's on automatic. Division is on automatic now. And the word racism is a trigger of division. And what that division looks different according to the person and the soul that is within them. Can you shut the door, honey? That's my daughter. She's coming in. What do you want, babe? You're not getting milk. You do know that, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. So, yes. My children are coming in. Yes. I need you to get out.
Why?
Okay. So, okay. Move, Amra, move, honey. Okay. So, when I hear the word racism, my thing is, my first connection is, how can somebody be racist against racism when there is only, when it comes to humans, there's only one race, and that is the human race? How can you be racist against your own race? There's only one race of grown humans, and that's humans. There's only one human race. So that right there is, once we take a step back and get out of our emotions. Sweetie, stop. Amra, put back my pen. Amra, put back my pen. Amra, put back my pen. Stop, honey. Thank you. That when we get out of our emotions and our feelings and out of what was shown to us, that we can start asking questions like why, what, when, where. How does that make sense? And Amra, shut the door. Amra, shut the door. Thank you. So in my post, I put racism as RACE-ISM. The reason why I did that is because the word race-ism is a compound word. If you remember that word, if you remember compounds were taught in schools, compound is where two words join together to make one. So race ism is two separate words. So I mean, there's two separate meanings in that word that most people probably don't know and probably not have thought of for themselves to look up and research. Yes, honey. Because they're only going by the meaning and the understanding that was passed down to them, that was given to them, that's in front of their face every single day. So that is appearing to be true, and it's not. Yes, honey. Yes, come on. He wants milk. So I'm going to decipher the words race-ism because it's two words in one. So the word race, when it comes to human race, there's only one. And the human race, that's one truth. That's a fact. And so race is hi. Okay, so my son wants some milk. You know how I do. I'm about to breastfeed him. If you happen to see some breasts, sorry and not sorry at the same time. You know how I do. I do my best. Come on. All right, you done?
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Okay, here we go. So race as a noun, number one, person, place, or thing. Late Old English, also raise, R-A-S-E, which means a narrative and account. History, aka history. So race, a narrative and account. Race-ism. What narrative and account is being showed and perpetrated throughout the United States about racism? Is it yours? Is it mine? No, it's not. It's the people or the system that set it up to begin with. It is their narrative. It is their account. Hey, Dennis, thanks for watching. Okay, continue on. It's also from 13th century. An act of swift running, a hurried attack. Also, a course of life or conduct. A course of life or conduct. A race is also a course of life and a conduct. So over the course of the United States history, what have they been showing and doing with their actions and the consequences of it to get to where we are at now? To get to what you're seeing right now, the actions of right now, the thoughts, how people are treating each other, the division right now. Race as a noun is from 1560s. People descended from a common ancestor class of persons allied by a common ancestry. People descended from a common ancestor class of persons allied by common ancestry. Humans are related. We are all connected. We all came from the same universal power, past, present, and future. We all got through this earth in a different way, like in different bodies, different people, but we're all connected. We're all connected to each other. We are connected to everything that has ever been created and will be created. And it has been created now. We're all connected. Race, as a verb, means to rush. From Scandinavia, source, akin to the source of race, all. It's reinforced by the noun in English and by Old English, meaning to rush, headlong, hasten, enter rashly. Remember before I said race, the word racism is a trigger. The word racism is a trigger. When people hear the word racism along with other words in life, have you noticed how they just rush into a conversation, or they rush with their reaction? They rush with their response without stopping to thinking first, because it's a trigger to them. It triggers emotions. It triggers feelings. Really? It triggers a response and reaction that was taught to them to be triggered and how to respond and react. So we're all guns and weapons. We are. And we are firing shots every day in our lives to ourselves and to other people. And when we're triggered, we go off. I know I've gone off with somebody before because they said the wrong thing. But what did you just say to me? You were like, you've been off on somebody because they said something to you and you got triggered and you start popping off at the mouth, like how we used to say back in the day. That's what that is. You're being triggered. And that is what's counted on, is the triggering to continue the division. So one way to take back your power, to regain your power, to help make change, like real change, is to know your trigger. Know why you are being triggered, what that trigger means, and start healing yourself by learning yourself, by being connected to yourself and your four bases and to the universal power and to your soul that is within your body. Because that will help you remember why you are here. That will help you see through all this bullshit and all this noise. That will help you give you a deeper understanding instead of just an understanding of what is going on. Ow, don't push me. Okay, so racism as a noun, number 3, which means a strong current water. A specific sense of race. A strong current water. Where's that at? Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Honey, that hurts. So, a strong current of water. Water is inside all of us. I don't remember what percentage of the body, of the human body, water makes up of. But you can connect it to that. Now let's go to ism. Remember I said race-ism is a compound word. So the second word of racism is the word ism, I-S-M. Racism is a hard issue. So Dennis Hill Sr. said, racism is a hard issue and a environmental issue. I agree. Thank you, Dennis, for saying that. I do agree. It is a hard issue and an environmental issue. It's a whole lot of issues. All right, ism as a noun, is a noun, person, place, or thing. It means a distinctive doctrine, theory, or practice. Ism, a distinctive doctrine, theory, or practice. 1670s, the Sufism used as an independent word, chiefly despairingly. So ism, I-S-M, a distinctive doctrine, theory, or practice. That the ISM lets you know that racism, R-A-C-I-S-M, that word, is a theory. It's a doctrine, as a teaching that was put in place and practiced every day for years and years and years and years and years until it became ingrained, until it became natural, until it became automatic in society. And if you are one who continues to go with it, go along with it in whatever way, shape, or form that the system has made racism to look like, to do, to be, calling another black person coon, showing disrespectful and non-loving towards another person because their skin color is different. Like, you are continuing the teaching, the doctrine of racism because you are keeping it into practice. You're continuing to practicing it. You're passing it down to your children through your semen and your eggs to continue to practice it. When your children get here, you're continuing to practice it. If you're thinking it, speaking it, like all of that, you're continuing practicing racism. So all the actions and the side effects and the consequences that are coming from it, unfortunately, is our doing. It's your doing. because you keep practicing it. You keep visualizing it. What happens when you visualize things, you think things, you feel things, they continue to manifest in your life for your natural observer eyes and ears, for you to know. So remember, I'm here to get to the bottom of the word racism. And the bottom of the word racism is it's a teaching, it's a doctrine, and it's a practice. And for real change to begin to start, it starts with you, and it starts with you stop practicing racism. To stop practicing their teachings of it. And it starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with your world, because you are one world, and your world changes and affects other worlds. All right, ism -ism is a word forming element making nouns implying a practice, system, doctrine, etc. From French isme, which means, or directly from Latin isma, and it's also from Italian, Spanish, Dutch, German, different IM, US, and all that. Teachings. Continue on. So, from Greek, ismos, noun ending, signifying the practice or teachings of a thing. So, when you're taught something, it doesn't matter what you are taught. When you accept that teaching and you begin to take action in that teaching, there are side effects and there are consequences of you, for you, on you, and to you, and on, of, to, for others as well. For example, let's say you wanted to be a doctor and you went to college and you learned how they tell you how a doctor should do and should be. So you're like, oh, okay, I got my doctorate degree, I'm a PhD or whatever. And you go out to life, you have a career being a doctor, and you begin living experience with that teaching you were given. As you begin to live, you begin to see that, hey, what you were taught doesn't always work. And you begin to learn about different ways, like maybe a holistic, natural way to do things, to help your patients, to save your patients. And you'd be like, I agree with this. I can connect to this. This can be used. So you begin to start learning that teaching so that you begin to practice it. Unfortunately, you cannot take away what you may have done as a doctor with your first teaching that you had and were living by. You may have killed some people. You may have caused people some life, some death, some pain, some hurt, because you were going by what you knew. You're going by the knowledge that you had at that time. So unfortunately, you can't change that. But now, since you're learning new knowledge that can help people and you be better, you're able to do things different, able to do things better. You're able to create new side effects and new consequences. That same thing can be applied to midwives and how they help mommies to have more natural births and labors, besides what the Western society has been put upon and done, like on your back and stuff. That's not healthy that's not helpful for the mama or the baby to get the baby out. It's going against gravity. It's not natural. So some midwives say, you know what? I want to help the mother have a more natural way. So they start changing their practice, their teaching, their actions because of it. Teachers, parents even. Like me personally and my journey as the healed mother. I used to discipline and act one way towards my children and towards myself. That was not helping or becoming of us as a family. So it's like, I want to do something different. I want to be something different. I unfortunately can't take away the consequences and side effects of my past actions, but I can look towards the future to change us, to give us different side effects and different consequences that help us and our family be better and be more loving, protective, and respectful. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Okay, I'm trying to keep the camera up because he just lifted up my shirt. All right. ITY. Why do I have ITY? I'm trying to figure out why I have ITY. Okay, so for distinction of use, so continue on with the origins of ism, -ism. It means for distinction of use, CITY. ITY. So -ITY, yes. What? Use what? What is it? My son's asking me if he can use something. What is it? Is it a pen?
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. ITY is a word forming element making abstract nouns from adjectives and meaning condition or quality of being. Condition or quality of being. From Middle English ITE, from Old French ETE, and continue on. And it's a suffixing denoting statute or condition. So ITY is a word forming element making abstract nouns from adjectives and meaning condition or quality of being. Dennis Hill saying, sin is a natural manifestation of our carnal nature, but what you are doing is and will be confusing the masses because the masses is conditioned. Shine on, sis. I will continue shine on, sis. Thank you. Because the masses is conditioned. Yeah, there are masses, some people that are conditioned. However, being conditioned, that means you can be unconditioned as well. You can change. You can change your mind, change your thoughts, change your heart, change your actions. So it can happen. I know it can happen. Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. So condition or quality of being. So the word racism and what it appears to be, its actions, its side effects, its consequences, was a practice and is a practice teaching to condition the people of the United States and also other countries too as well, because you see how far and wide their reach goes. As a condition or quality of being and what it looks like and how people should respond and how people are reacting and what they should do about it. Condition, noun, is a mid-14th century. It means particular mode of being of a person or a thing. Also a requisite or prerequisite, a stipulation. Behavior, social status. So the word racism is a trigger, and you've been conditioned by them, they, to react and to respond a certain way. So you can see that as being a puppet on their strings, and they're the puppet master. When you continue to practice and teach and react and respond to racism, the way that they have conditioned, put into practice, and teach the society and the people of it, you are continuing to be their puppet. You're continuing to help them further their cause. When you, as a Black person, are continuing to color other Black people coons, you are continuing to help that teaching, that doctrine, that condition, that behavior, that status of their idea, their made up word, and what they say it is and looks like for their purpose, for their benefit of racism. Continue on from medieval Latin, conditionum, properly candicio, which means agreement, stipulation, the external, that means outside position, situation, rank, place, circumstances of person, situation, condition, nature, manner of things. From condicere, which means to speak with, talk together. So you know how a parent when you're a parent, you teach your child, how to behave in church. I remember us being, as a preacher's daughter in church all the time. My mom taught us, we learned how to be silent, be quiet, to go like this, or to like this, or look, or pull the ear. Like, we were conditioned that when these things happen, that means our butt's gonna get spanked. We were conditioned to that because that was taught, that was kept getting practice for us to know. Same thing with the word racism. It continues to be, it was a condition that was practiced and taught, and now people are in agreement with it, with their own actions, with their own words. Can you let go of my arm? So, what is your condition? Like, stop and think for a moment about your condition. Stop, honey. Your condition in society, your condition of your life, and when you get triggered with the word racism, what is your condition? How do you respond? How do you react? And did that originally come from you, or did it come from somebody else? Was that taught to you? The definition of racism, do you truly know it for yourself? Or are you going by what was taught to you, what was told to you, what was shown to you, what was practiced over and over and over again? So you got used to that. But have you taken the time to refer back to your own four bases, your soul, your brain, your heart, your body, to know, to learn the origins and the true meaning of it for yourself, to break it down for yourself? One of the conditions is con, comes from con, word forming element, meaning together with. So the condition of racism, they say it started in slavery. Hey, shut the door, guys. And what the... Thank you. Shut the door. And how the slave masters treated brown-skinned people of various shades. And not even just brown-skinned people. Like, paler... I'm still trying to figure out a word to call you guys. I'll just say white people. That's more respectful. I'm still learning, y'all. They were also enslaved too. So slavery or servitude is nothing new. It's actually be respectful. It's actually a part of nature. It's actually part of the universe. So I was thinking, okay, so what are other creatures in life that have this type of condition of what we think is slavery and serving? And the first one that came to mind is bees. Like, there is a queen bee, and then underneath her, they're like worker bees. So the queen bee's making babies, and there's worker bees below her, and they're all serving, to help their colony and their hive. There's that. Then there's ants. There's a queen ant. There's worker ants. If you remember that movie Ants, they showed the different, positions. I read. They're showing different positions and status of ants and how they're serving to the good of the ant colony. So same thing with humans. We are serving and helping each other to us as a human race on this earth. However, somewhere in the past, I don't know when and where, somebody or changed. They went away from the original law, from universal law on how we should treat each other as being connected and created by the same universal power, and took it to another level. I remember when I was learning about Moor and law, they showed how Moors, which is brown skinned people of various shades and skin tones, were the first people, and just Moors, but brown skinned people were the first people to basically put white people in slavery. And I'm like, I did not know that. I know they showed pictures and stuff of how white people used to live. They say disgusting and all that. And then black people came and showed them how to live clean and healthy and all that. and then also led to them putting them in slavery. I was like, oh, okay. They showed pictures and information and stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know that. That stuff wasn't taught to me in school. Did y'all know that? Did y'all learn that in school at all? Yes. So one of the things that Black people say is that white people always steal stuff from us, from them, and thinking they can do it better, but they can't because it's ours. And yes, there are examples of that, portraying of Egyptian people, like in the movies, dealing with the Bible and all that, My thing is, though, when I was writing these notes, I was like, okay, if white people are stealing or trading, or stealing or taking, they only learned from the best then. They learned slavery from us. So they just must have started doing it better then. I know that may sound harsh because what they put through people who look like us, it didn't seem like it was better, but they just took it to a whole nother level. So in a way, they did do it better. It was better and it was worse at the same time, because they took it to a level that brown-skinned people or various shades of people, they didn't do. But they were just only, what is that saying? Oh, the student surpassed the teacher. White people surpassed the teacher, which was Black people, about slavery and how to do it and do it better and get it done to where division will last basically for years and years for them to stay in power and to stay in control. They're doing it better. They took what we taught them and made it better. Made it worse at the same time. It's both. It's duality. It's both. Really, dude? It's both at the same time. So that's the question is, who should you really be mad at then for racism? If you want to go that route, but the word RACISM, who should you really be mad at for racism? If white people learned everything and took everything from Black people, if Black people are the ones that enslaved them first, then who and what is the origins of racism? If in that aspect, RACISM, who is the one that opened the door for what we see right now? Who? What people? And it's not just, and it goes way beyond just people, skin tones. We've all gone away from universal law that we were born, because some people have forgotten when they got to this earth. They came through to this earth and their mom about who they are and where they came from. I know I did for a little bit, and I started to remember. That's why I know that my soul is the connecting angel, and it is my purpose, my soul's purpose, to help people remember their connection to their creative power. Because I've begun to remember why I'm here. I begin to remember that I'm not this flesh, I'm not this body. My soul that's inside this body is using it to complete its purpose on this earth. For and from the universal power to this earth, and me here on this earth to me and for people, and then people on this earth are here to help me as well, and you. So he's breastfeeding again, y'all. I'll do my best not to share boobs. Sorry and not sorry at the same time. So dude, stop it. So conditioned nature is better, a reflection of, so slavery, or the status or position of someone being born higher and there's people below working to help, that's in nature. That's natural. That's universal. There is a natural leader that should be to, carry the people and help the people, help their species. You see it in lions. There's a king, Lion King. You see it in lions, there's the main one and there's their pride. That's natural. So what we as humans on this earth while we're leaving need to understand and know that right now we were born within and under a system that was put in this place, which is just a reflection of the universal system. And we need to start knowing and going back to universal law for ourselves to learn how to make real change within this system and how we are to live and claim and call and visualize and speak and act and behave within this system. I know I'm beginning to learn that there's some things in universal law, like natural is the same thing that can be used to help myself in this system, how to work through this system. And what really gets me when it comes to racism and change, there are people out there that know this truth, that know that they're not black and people are not white. Those are just descriptions and statuses for the system's paperwork and all that stuff. And they know the truth on what to do and probably are doing it for themselves. But instead of teaching that to people, like letting people know, they're continued to perpetrate the same teaching, doctrine, and practice of the system, of racism, of division, to keep people entrapped and still enslaved in this system. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's all excuse, oh, you got to meet people that they won't understand. That's too much. Like, how do you know what all people are going to respond to and reflect and react? Like, that is not for us to determine when and what somebody can accept, will accept, or what is ready for. That's not up to you. That is not up to me. Your purpose, what you're meant to do, is come on this earth, walk in your soul's purpose, and then fulfill it and complete it in this life that you were born into through different ways. And those are your missions. It is not up to you to decide and determine who is and who is not ready for it. People need to decide that, and we'll decide that for themselves. You're just meant to do what you're supposed to be put on this earth to fucking do. That's what you're meant for. That's it. And if we all did that more... All right, and if people... I gotta finish because my phone's low on storage. So if people did that more often and and just worried about and focus on themselves, you get more stuff done. More stuff would be getting done. More change would be happening. More knowledge and understanding and connecting would be going on. So the scripture that came to me when I was doing this is, we wrestle not with for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. So for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We're not wrestling against this flesh and blood, against other people with this flesh. That's not it. We're wrestling against principles. Remember the principle, the doctrine, the teaching of racism. That's what you're really wrestling against. That's what you're really up against, is the teaching and the practice of racism, is that principle. Against powers, because they've got powers. Guess what? You got powers too. You are a power. Against the rulers of the darkness of this world. So, what is it? Spiritual wickedness. I looked that up. It says current of air, G415 in the Strong's Concordance. So when I think of current of air, I'm thinking breath, words, what we are speaking, what we are breathing into life, and that is continues to manifest, because life and death is in the power of the what? Power of the tongue. Your life is what you created to be by thought and by words and by actions too. And then breath, air, breeze, and then I looked up wickedness in the Strong's Concordance. And it means depravity, malice, plot, sins, and in it plural, and iniquity, pardon me, get that word out. So it means hurt, it means pain, like the word wickedness. It can also mean poor or worthless. Like, there are so many words that wickedness means. And some people are just stuck on one meaning of it and think that's what it is. It's not. It's so much more. And I did a post before about the origin of the word doctrine and what teaching people are following and whose doctrine are teaching. And Romans 16:17 was, it says basically, mark them which cause division and offenses.
Mom.
So,
Mom.
yes. Okay. So mark them which are causing division. Who is causing division? Why, if these people are causing division, then why do you continue to follow them? Why do you continue to practice their teachings if they're causing division? Does that make sense? If what they're saying and doing is not of universal law, which is love, protection, and respect, of how you should be treating each other, how we should be treating each other, why are you continuing to follow it and practice it and pass it on? And then another scripture I did was Ephesians 4:14. It talks about how people are tossed to and fro by every word of doctrine. Man is tossed around to and fro by every word that comes out of their mouths. Every day we see it. It comes to money, health, education, everything that they say. Oh, we got to go this way. They're saying this, so I agree with them now. Oh, now they're saying this. People are being tossed to and fro, and it's happening even right now with this virus and mask. Like, before this happened, even when flu was around and flu was still killing people, the doctors and nurses stuff had masks available. Only if you were sick were you supposed to wear a mask. However, now they're saying everybody should wear a mask, even when you're not sick. See how I flipped that? They went backwards. How it used to be one thing, but now they're changing it. They're changing how they're teaching people. They're changing the teaching that they're giving their students, which is the citizens and the people that live within their states and the government and underneath their government and all that. Like, their doctrine, it keeps changing to and fro. And if you're one that keeps going with them, then that's you. You keep changing to and fro by going with their doctrine. Sit your ass down. Sit still. Pick one. Choose one. Choose who you are following and choose who you are following and who you are obeying. Whose doctrine? Is it the universe or creative power, God, Jesus, whatever you want to call it? Or is it man? Is it the universal power, creator, God, Jesus, that created you? Or are you following the king, the authority that you asked God to set upon you and over you because you decided not to trust and have faith in God anymore? You do not trust and have faith in that universal power within yourself anymore. That you stopped being connected, that you forgot your connection, that you don't need no middleman. You can get one, but you don't need it because the universal power is within you. Jeremiah was at 31:33, where it says, I've written the laws in their minds and hearts. Universal laws within all of us. How we should treat each other, how should we treat all creation is within all of us. We just need to remember it, and we do that by going back to our four bases: our soul, our brain, our heart, and our body. And remember to connect to that universal power that created everyone, everything, past, present, and future, which connects us to everyone and everything, past, present, and future. That's what you need to go back to. You want real change? Go back to that. And stand on that. And use that to help learn this system. Because they're also following universal law too in their own way. And you're allowing them to use it against you or you're allowing their way of using universal law to control you and have power over you, instead of you using the same universal law that you were born with to have control and power over yourself and your life and the lives of your children. Universal living. Living universally. Live as one to all. I not only teach that, I not only preach it, I also live it. Me and my children. So, deciphering the doctrine of race-ism. So, to break it down, the doctrine of race-ism is a teaching and practice of division. It is a teaching and a practice of division that has been put in place and is still in place because people naturally and automatically, yes. Because here, yeah, go ask Daddy. Because people naturally and automatically now keep it in place. And if you're one of those people who, stop it, honey. And if you're one of those people who continue the division, if you're one of those people who call other black people, if you're one of those people that continue to show and share the appearance of racism and what they have taught it for it to look like and be, you're keeping it alive. If you have not yet stopped and thought for yourself, logically and spiritually and universally, about the word racism, you're one of those people that are continuing it. However, change starts with you. It starts with me. And as long as you are able to live and breathe, you have the ability, the choice, the opportunity to change. But it starts with yourself first. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with us coming together and sharing our knowledge, what we've been giving, by walking in our soul's purpose. It starts with people stop trying to say that y'all ain't ready for this information, I'm not going to give it to you, or y'all got to pay me their money to learn information. Like, we've all been bought and paid. Like, it's already been paid for us to come on this earth and to walk in our soul's purpose. It's already been funded, commissioned, all of that. We just got to do it, and everything else is taken care of. We will be taken care of. You will be taken care of. Well, that's it. I don't feel nothing else flowing. Let go. So, if anything I have said has connected to you, or if you have connected to anything that I have said, then that means it was, that means you've been packed up by me, the Personalized Analytical Connector, and that it was and it is right on vibe to you and for you. And that's all that matters, because you are all that you need to walk in your soul's purpose, to fulfill and complete your life's missions with the gifts, the talents, and the powers that you were born with. Yes. We'll come back again next Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to suggest or give a topic or a movie or anything you like me to analyze and find connections to and with to you, to life in general, to learn, to ascend, post them up, comment, or you can send me a message. And universal living means living as one to all. And you can do it. I'm doing it. We all can do it. We all need to do it. And yeah. So that's it. Just knowing everything I do, I am nourishing the connecting seeds in you. And remember, there is peace in the blood. Whose blood? Yours and mine, of course. Until next time. You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right. So until next time, make sure you walk in your... to fulfill and complete your
life mission.
With your...
Mommy!
With the gifts.
Mommy!
Yes. With the And the
power. And the power.
And the
Power.
that you
Were born with.
were born with.
Go with.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Peace and love. Okay, hold on.